predicted, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates. Like I said, I know they always do. It's an election year. They do this to make the markets look much better so that people have the illusion of a good economy. They want to make it look like Bidenomics works. In the long run, this is going to have bad impacts. It's going to obviously raise inflation because you're putting more money in circulation essentially. And it's also an indication that the economy is not all right. Some would argue that the Federal Reserve was tightening way too aggressively in previous years. There was also an argument to be made that the Federal Reserve lacked policy room because they had interest rates at zero for a long time, and they didn't have anything in their toolbox to indicate to the market if the market was going to have a recession in the event of, in the event of zero interest rates and an impending recession. Of course, they had quantitative easing, but nobody likes that. So the Federal Reserve aggressively tightened because there was inflation. Obviously, according to shadow stats, it was 17% at one point. And not only that, but the Federal Reserve wanted policy room as well. Now that we're in election year, of course, they're going to lower interest rates. But this indicated to the market that that there was a recession coming. And I made a video on this before. I talked about the inverted yield curve, that it's the most inverted since, I believe, 1929. You also have this news of Warren Buffett selling almost $1 billion worth of Bank of America stock in the last few days. So Warren Buffett, of course, always makes his headlines that he sells this, buys this, and people look at this as a leading indicator. The banks are going to be stressed out. They were stressed out because of the rising interest rates, because of their asset prices. The assets that they put on their books lowered in value. And now, you have this situation where you have indicators showing that there's an impending recession. We have this big housing bubble that will probably start popping in the next coming years. Forecasters that I've been paying attention to are saying that we're going to have a major recession in 2025. I suspect that in the event of a Trump presidency, the system wants to delay a recession or a depression until later on in his term to make it look like Trump's responsible for this. If Harris gets into the presidency, they want to make it happen as soon as possible, so that this way it's early in her term, so it makes it look like it's not her fault, even though she was the vice president, and even though her beliefs are in line with the same policies that led up to this. They're going to make it look like she's going to be the savior, that she's the FDR, versus with Donald Trump, they'll try to make him look like the Hoover, like Herbert Hoover. So the timing is very important. A good scenario is, if this bubble pops, and I'm sure it will, is that this happens very early on in Trump's presidency. This way, it looks like it was the Biden-Harris, it was Bidenomics that caused the collapse, and that Trump will come in and will have the political mandate, hopefully, to end the Federal Reserve altogether and income taxes. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the Fed rate cut and some of the peripheral news around that.